Welcome to the Know Before They Grow podcast. Today, our team will have a brief discussion on the topic what a not excluded paternity test results mean. It should be an interesting conversation. Let's get started.
All right, so we've got a pretty interesting request from a listener, someone who wants to get to the bottom of, well, their DNA paternity test results, really wrap their head around it.
Yeah, definitely not something you come across every day, but hey, we're all about tackling those tricky topics.
And that's why we're diving headfirst into this document, right? From, let me get this right, IDTO DNA testing centers, DNA paternity testing results, understanding your report. Sounds pretty official, right?
Straight from the source, helps us decode everything, make sense of the science and all.
Okay, so let's say you've got these results staring back at you, and you're hit with this phrase, not excluded.
Yeah, that can be a pretty loaded phrase, right?
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
Imagine getting like an email saying you're not excluded from being a millionaire, right?
Right. But in this context, not excluded essentially means, the alleged father. There's a very high chance they're the biological father based on what the DNA is telling us.
So it's a very strong indication, but not a 100% guarantee.
Exactly. And that's where the whole probability thing comes in, right? You'll often see probability of paternity, and it's almost always something crazy high, like 99.99% or higher.
Which, honestly, when I first saw that, I was blown away. Like, that's incredibly precise, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it really speaks volumes about how far the technology has come, Years back, getting this kind of certainty, it was a whole other ballgame. Now we can be super precise, but it's still based on, statistical probability. Think of it like a weather forecast. They use tons of data, but they can't say with absolute certainty it will rain, right?
It makes you wonder how they even came up with that percentage in the first place. Like, do they have to test every single man on the planet just to be sure?
Right. Well, not quite. It's more about, analyzing specific genetic markers. But your point stands, it's impossible to test every single man, so there's always that tiny, tiny chance.
Okay, that makes sense. But then it also talks about these inconclusive results, which sounds, well, inconclusive. What does that even mean in the context of a paternity test?
Right. So inconclusive basically means they couldn't get a clear excluded or not excluded answer from the DNA. It's like that moment in a movie where you think you know what's happening and then bam, plot twist, gotta wait for the sequel.
So are we talking about like sample issues or what?
Yeah, could be that. Or sometimes it's down to mutations in the DNA, which think of it like typos in the DNA code. Too many typos, and it gets hard to compare things accurately. And sometimes they might need to test more genetic markers to get a clearer picture.
Okay, so it's like hitting pause, not rewind. You might need to do a bit more digging to get those answers. It must be frustrating for the people involved to not get a straight answer.
Oh, absolutely. And that's when, having someone to help you navigate those emotions is crucial.
That's where genetic counselors come in,
Yeah.
right? They can provide guidance, be that support system.
Exactly, because it's more than just the science. It's about people's lives, their relationships, their sense of identity.
Absolutely. These aren't just numbers on a page. These are results with real-life consequences for families, individuals, everyone involved, right?
100%. I mean, people seek these tests for all sorts of reasons. Legal battles, wanting to understand their family medical history, or even just plain curiosity. And the results, they can really shake things up, bring families closer, or sometimes, unfortunately, drive them apart.
It really highlights that human element of it all, right? That
Yeah.
need to know where we come from, who we're connected to.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's that innate human need to connect the dots, to see where we fit in the grand scheme of things.
So to anyone listening who's grappling with their own DNA paternity test results, remember, you're not alone in this.
There's absolutely no shame in seeking support, whether it's from professionals or even just having those open conversations with loved ones.
We hope this deep dive is giving you a better grasp, not only on the scientific side of things, but also on the very human stories these tests often tell. It's more than just DNA. It's about understanding ourselves, our connections, our past, present, and maybe even our future.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Know Before They Grow podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you need reliable paternity testing services, don't hesitate to contact IDTO at 877-680-5800 or click the link in the description to visit them online today. Thank you for listening. Take care.